So Simone Biles, I'm trying to figure out this weekend still. At first, I thought it was AI. I thought it was a joke. I thought there's no way that Simone Biles would post the tweets that she did. But it turns out it's real, and I'm just curious. What was her thought process behind that? Did she say to herself, today's a good day to just wake up and destroy my brand? Before this weekend, Simone Biles was actually, a pretty popular athlete for the most part. I mean, very well respected. Obviously, I mean, something that can't be taken away from her. She's the greatest gymnast that's ever, greatest women's gymnast that's ever existed, and basically kept her nose clean of stuff. And I know she had that quitting incident a while back, but that sometimes stuff happens. It was a mental health deal, and we basically forgiven her for that because she'd given us no reason not to. And like I said, she really had everything, it seemed like. And for some reason over the weekend, she just took these epic shots at Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines is the former swimmer for the University of Kentucky. As you might know, she's been very outspoken about men pretending to be women, or as they like to call themselves, transgenders. Now, I'm not counting them as transgenders. The real transgenders out there, they just want to live their lives and not worry about it. They don't want to make a scene. They don't want their own flag. They don't want it. They just want to live their lives as they want to live their lives, and I respect them for that. And I hope that those out there really can live those lives. But the ones who make the decision to compete in women's sports as men, which as men, each of the genders, there are only two genders, by the way, but each of the genders has their own strengths and weaknesses. For men, our strengths blend perfectly for sports. That's why I said you can't use sports as a determination of who's better at anything other than athletic competition. We have the greater bone density, greater muscle mass, the faster twitch fibers in our muscles that allow us to run faster, jump higher, and all that. And basically sports is that's what it was made for, to show that off. And Riley Gaines has been very open about keeping biological men out of women's sports. She was the voice back when nobody else was dared to speak out against it, back during from the socialism days on, from 2020 through 2022 or whatever it was, when before people finally started gaining voices, before we finally got fatigued of it all, and 2025 have finally started fighting back in mass. And like I said, she's been very much outspoken about it, and is going to go down on the right side of history as far as that goes. And out of nowhere, Simone Biles just takes all these shots at her for continuing to point out these ridiculous circumstances where boys pretending to be girls, because like I said, they're not true transgenders. The ones who are in sports. Riley Gaines came across in swimming William Thomas. She goes by Leah Thomas, but the fact is, it's a he, and his name is William Thomas, and he identified as a woman, called himself Leah, and took some, competed against women, people who did not share his muscle mass, muscle twitch fibers, whatever they are. I wish I'd done a little more research before that one. Bone density, ability to retain oxygen for more endurance, all that. So, and he kind of victimized her on that just because he felt he couldn't hang with the men, so he suddenly decided he was a woman, which he's not. And because of our woke idiots who make these laws and rules, he got to compete against them and have success, which he could have never done against the men because he's not good enough. It's like me, I was never good enough at athletics. When I was younger, if I'd have decided to, decide I was a woman and changed my name to Elizabeth or whatever, I mean, I probably could have competed and got some top tens on some national stages and stuff. But, despite having no athletic talent, but, it's just how it goes. And that doesn't make me better than women. It's just how it goes. Women's biological advantages are far more important than men's. It's just not in sports. In sports, men are always going to whoop up on women, and because that's just what they're built for. That's what sports are made for, to take advantage of what we're built for. And I don't know what Simone Biles is doing. She just went off on this rant that made no sense, saying, she needs to uplift the trans community, make them feel safe, like it's her job, and then body shamed her, saying, you should pick up somebody your own size, which, judging by your height, would be men. I guess she looked at her Wikipedia page, which I guess said 5'9". She measured herself with her husband's help on video, showing that she is indeed only 5'5.5", a little bit less. So I guess 5'5 and 3/8 or something like that. And so she basically body shamed her, saying, haha, you're tall, you're not really a woman, you're basically a man, which, when you're a gymnast and she can't be more than 5 feet tall, probably less than that, and that's okay, but, I'm sure anybody seems like a giant to her, and I don't understand what she had to gain by this, and I'm sure I'm almost positive one of her sponsors or somebody paid her off big time to say, look, we're paying you all this money. We need you to help us in our socialist causes, our Marxist causes, and keeping the great divide between men and women minimal. And that has to be what happened, because for her to say the ridiculous thing she said, to just out of nowhere attack Riley Gaines, and like I said, personally attack her, there's no reason for that. She just destroyed her brand overnight. Whatever they're paying her, I hope they have a continued annuity for this, because she just killed a lot of earning potential for her in the future, and for no good reason. And of course, it's funny as her career comes to an end, kind of like Megan Rapinoe, something like, yeah, we should let men trying to earn these woke points and being paid off by these Marxist organizations like Nike are saying, yeah, we should let men participate in women's sports and completely throw off the order and saneness that we have and devolve into no order and insanity. And I have no doubt that's what it is, but she's gonna it's something that's gonna be regretted, because she's throwing away a lot of goodwill, a lot of earnings potential. She could have had, she's good financially, but she could have had a very nice life going forward, making money, showing not even so much the money, but making appearances, being just generally liked and respected and received well wherever she went. And now she's just tossed all that away. This is the sort of thing you can't undo. This is the kind of bell you can't unring. So I don't know. I would love to know the story behind this and why she suddenly decided to do that, and basically who paid her off. That's what I want to know. Who paid her off and who's behind this? And I'm sure they said say something, and then what she wound up saying was just completely ridiculous and over the top. So congratulations, Simone Biles. You just played yourself, and you made Riley Gaines look even more like a hero. Riley Gaines is going to go down as one of the great voices of reason of our time. She's somebody I respect a lot and have a lot of respect for. Now she's going to get that, and you're going to get none of it, Simone. So congratulations. You played yourself. Enjoy sitting around with all your medals and no respect, because that's all you have now, and that's all you're worth. That's just the fact of the matter. So tell me, guys, what you think. What do you think's behind it? And I'll talk to you guys later.